Hello and welcome back to Pack Tax, home of Utah's highest rated tax nerds. We are so excited to work with you again this season. As a way of review, please make sure that you fully complete the intake form that we have sent to you and go through the checklist before you come to your appointment. Some other firms, they send out like 27-page booklets that you have to fill out for your tax appointment. We don't do that. We have made it really concise. It's one page front and back, but you really do need to fill it out. So get the intake form, fill it out. If you haven't received it for some reason, you can get it on our website or call or text our office, and we'll be very happy to send it to you. But you've got to have the intake form before we can do your appointment. Okay, so I just wanted to talk quickly about a few of the updates that are new for this tax year. So things change, right? With taxes, things change every year. This is one of the reasons why you rely on tax professionals like Pack Tax to help you, because things are constantly changing. So here's some of the big changes for this year. Mostly, what I want to talk about first is changes back because of COVID. So the past couple of years, things were really weird with COVID. There were differences that were brought in, credits that were available because of the pandemic. Well, almost all of those are now gone. So things in general are going back to the way they were pre-pandemic. So some things to know, this means that child tax credits, for example, are back to their normal amount of $2,000. Last year, they were a lot higher. To qualify for a child tax credit, your child has to be 16 years or younger in that tax year. That was also different with COVID. So child tax credits are going to be less than what they've been the past couple of years, which is just the normal system. But again, it's been weird because of COVID. So we'll keep an eye out for that the child tax credits are going back to normal. Similarly, the daycare tax credits are going back to normal. Last year with COVID, they were like giant. You could get huge amounts back for daycare. Not the case anymore. It's back to pre-pandemic levels, which means you can claim, up to $3,000 per kid, but the maximum they'll give you back is $600 a kid. I mean, it's a lot less than what it once was. We still want to claim your daycare credits, but just know it's going to be way different than what it was the past couple years with COVID. Similarly, they've adjusted the qualifications for earned income credit. That's that credit that you get if you have a lower income but still have dependent children at home. It's not as good as it was. Again, with COVID, they kind of inflated everything, gave everyone back a little bit more money. That's coming back down. And of course, there's not going to be any stimulus payments that we have to deal with this year. No advanced child tax credit payments that we have to deal with this year. So that's nice. Also, this year, it's back to normal for itemizing deductions for charitable contributions. You can only count charitable contributions if you have enough to itemize your deductions. The past 2 years, they made a special exception where they allowed you to claim a little bit of donations, even if you didn't have enough to itemize. That's now gone. So don't stress too much about it. If you know you're not going to have enough to itemize, your donations this year will not matter. But if in doubt, put them down on your intake form because it just doesn't hurt to have it down there. Okay, a couple of the other big changes that people keep talking about that we need to talk about. First is digital currency, or the IRS is now calling it digital assets. So this is stuff like crypto, Bitcoin, NFTs. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you probably don't need to worry about this. But for all of you who do know what I'm talking about, the IRS now has stricter reporting rules than they've ever had before. So for 2022 tax year, now your broker like E-Trade or Robinhood or Coinbase, they are required to report your transactions on 1099 forms. So this means that you should be receiving 1099 forms if you have sold or traded any digital currency at all during the year. And we're going to have those to file your tax returns. So look for those. They might be there by the end of January. If not, log into your account and see if you can get the actual 1099 forms. The IRS is super aggressive, not only in if you bought or sold, they now also want to know if you received any digital assets, whether you purchased them or they were gifted to you. They want to know all of this, and you're going to have to report it. So basically, if you purchased or sold or were gifted to someone else, any kind of digital assets, you now have to report that on your tax return starting now. So bring those records with you, and there's a new line on your intake form to fill out, is this you? Do you have those? And tells you what to bring. Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk about, which is something I think a lot of people will be talking about, is payments that you've received from places like Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, that now are also required to report that income to you. So this means, what it means is if you received $600 or more from one of those processors during the year, So like if sometime during the year I got $600 Venmoed to me, and not like at once, I mean like in all the little Venmos that people Venmoed me back and forth, if I received $600 or more, Venmo is now required to send me a 1099-K form to report that. This is way different. They've never been required to do this before. So I think a lot of us are going to have to deal with this because a lot of us use Venmo or Cash App to just send money back and forth. Like, you know, I went to dinner and my sister Venmoed me $15 for dinner because I just paid, right? So likely you're going to be getting these 1099-K forms. You need to bring them into your taxes. And there's good news and bad news. The bad news is you're going to get them in the mail, or they're going to send them in your email, and they're going to look scary, and you're going to think, oh no, I don't really have $2,000 of income. That was all just like Venmoing for, you know, they paid me back for stuff I bought them. Like that's not really income, right? So like you're going to get some scary statements that are maybe going to like worry you a little bit about, is this taxable or not? So we can't avoid that. That's coming. The good news is, working with us, we can tell the IRS what portions of those are actually taxable and what aren't. The good news is that only business income is actually going to be taxable. So if I received $1,000 in Venmo payments, but they were all for people paying me back for dinner just because we didn't want to split the check, none of that will be taxable. Now, if I go clean houses and people Venmo me to pay me to clean the houses, well, then the portions that I received for work, like business income, right, that is taxable. Now, the IRS doesn't know which is which. So and neither does Venmo. So they're just going to have this one 1099 that has all of the stuff all at once. So that's where we come in and can be very helpful to you. And we're going to work with you to have to split apart that Venmo and make sure we're pointing out any of it that could be business stuff. Now, for a lot of people, there is no business stuff. You don't, sell blankets to people and they pay you on Venmo. All you're doing with Venmo is paying people back and forth for, and paying you, for whatever, but you're not receiving money for work you're doing. If that's the case, that's going to be a real easy fix. But if you did do some work and some of those payments came through one of these places, you're going to have to break it down. But either way, whether they're personal or business, you're going to report them on your tax return. So that's new. And like I said, it's going to be a little like spooky at first. You're going to get these forms, bring them to us. As long as none of it was actual business income, we can resolve it and make it not taxable. You still have to report it, but it won't be taxable. So, and this is all brand new. We'll see how good of a job Venmo and PayPal and all those guys do in actually issuing the 1099s. We don't know yet. They're supposed to, but we'll see what happens. So if you receive any of those, please bring them to us so that we can provide the information to the IRS so that they don't tax you on Venmo transactions that are not supposed to be taxable, if that makes sense. Okay, so pretty much that's the changes. Things are going back to what things were before COVID. There are no major changes to tax rates. The standard deduction went up slightly. It does every year. Everything's kind of back to normal with the exception of them being more serious about cryptocurrency and about like the Venmo and PayPal transactions. And we encourage you, if you haven't booked your appointment yet, please book your appointment soon. We plan on filling up super fast. You can go online or you can call us or text us to book. And then also the reminder that we require that you fill out that intake form both sides before your appointment. We have to have it. There's too many moving pieces on tax returns now. We don't want to miss anything. We want to make sure that you're getting back the biggest refund that we can get back for you, minimizing your taxes. We need you to fill those things out. And remember, it's not 27 pages. We made it just 2, so it's not that awful, but please go and fill it out. If you've been our client before, you don't need to worry about putting all the social security numbers on it. We have those, but please fill out everything else. Or if you added a new dependent, like there's a new baby born, or we're claiming my brother that we never claim, or I have a new stepson. If we don't have the social security numbers, well, then you need to give those to us. But for those of you who have been doing taxes for years and years, you don't need to give us your socials. We have those, but please fill out everything else. And then if you have any questions, please call us or text us. And we just look forward to meeting with you. Thanks.